Okay, guys, so here we go. So this is a study here, and this one, they actually say there's a quick saying, of course, that pawn endings in chess are to what putting is in golf. Think about that, right? So pawn endings in chess are to what putting is in golf. So if you think about what putting is to golf, these pawn endings like this is basically, is what it is to chess. So you have to be very, very precise with the stuff that you do. Precision is involved. You have to be correct for you to sink it and for you to win, basically, to say the least. And that's a quote actually from Cecil. I think it's Cecil Purdy, International Master. But this is actually inside of the book Tournament Mindset. One-liners, axioms, and mantras is dropping later this year. So today we're looking at this. This is actually video 10. We got 9 more videos already. So this is it, guys. It's here. Black to move. What are you going to do here? And it's in game here. How do you do it? First off, this is what I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me, is this a draw or not? Is this a draw? And it's black to move. It's obvious here. Okay, rook hanging. So white's not going to it's easy. So is this a draw? Do you think this is a draw or not? You can say yes, it's a draw, or you can say draw, or you can say not a draw. Let's see it in the chat. What is this? Is this a draw? Is black winning? Is white winning? What do you think is going on? I want to know in the chat. Not a draw due to double pawns, I guess, from just one nameless dude. Not a draw, black can win with kingside pawns after rook exchange from Cheesy Driver. My in-games are rough, not a draw. Okay, it's probably 0.2 for black. Says fan of Master Clincher. Black is better, but I'm not sure if it's winning. If it's winning, we putting here. We putting here. We on the green, and we're putting. And this is accuracy. Black can win king, more active after trade. I think it will be a draw after rook trade. Yeah, I want answers. This is deep stuff here. We're about to really get into this. Both kings on 7 and 2nd centered. Winning for black because king can pick up queenside pawns. Black is winning, better pawn structure. From Nicholas J. Diaz. What's up, bro? That's a student too. That's a student, just let you know. Black is winning easy from the old board. 37. So basically a pawn structure puzzle. I mean, no, it's actually not. But every pawn structure you do need to look at. In fact, one of the first things you look at in an endgame is what is the pawn structure and the pawn count. So if we look on this side of the board over here, queen side, of course, everything is the same. So this is dead. This is basically dead over here. That's number one. Yo, D Price with the 26 months, bro. Appreciate you. Sick of it. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, what's going on? Hey, D Price, what you think this is, man? Since you here, do you think this is a draw? Do you think this is a win for black? A win for white? What is this? It's actually black to move as well. It's black to move. Since you're here coming in with the sub, what do you think this is? Look at it real quick as we talk about this. How about b5, protect the rook, maybe create a pass pawn? Zobaliniano, thanks for the follow. I think you got to go rook h4 because you're going to lose the b and a pawn. Now let's actually address b5 and how bad this move would be. But first, actually, let's look at the pawn structure like we were saying. So in the pawn structures here, but when you get to an endgame or any game period, even starting in the middle game, right? Think about this. Even starting in the middle game, sometimes even the opening, right? Opening is definitely where it starts. But in the middle game and towards the end game, you can even know what the end game is going to look like from the opening or the middle game based off the pawn structure. So these pawn structures here, of course, these two are the same. Both sides exactly the same over here. So with that being said, this is kind of dead. King activity is important, but this is kind of dead on this side of the board. Let's check this side. It's 4 on 4, but these are all broken up, which makes weaknesses. Maybe here, and here, and some weaknesses, but no way to create really a pass pawn just yet, and nothing like that, right? But with that being said, of course, king activity is actually better if, especially with black on the move, if we could trade. Our king is a little bit more active because his king is coming from the back rank and ours is not. So if we can attack something, maybe we'll have something a little bit better. Took more active. Rook. Oh, you said rook more active. Okay, got it. Rook more active, win for black or draw. What up, Dosar? What's up, Tommy? It's good, bro. My guy. Also, knowing the Rubinstein game, he is famous for playing rook in games like a painter paints a masterpiece. Oh, you about to see one, my guy. Yeah, about my lightsaber. Let's go, LaCroix. Let's get it. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, guys. So if you haven't answered already, you can get this in the chat right now. This is going to be your chance as we talk about this. Do you think this is a win for black, a win for white, or do you think this is a dead draw? I don't think we want to allow rook c7 from white. Rook exchange has to be great for black here because he can back up the white king and get his king centralized. Rook to c6 from Frenzy. Maybe rook h4, rook h1 to move king and then move the king up. Well, let's actually check a few things here. In fact, I want to address how bad b5 is. b5 is very bad because now you have to think about after b5, rook takes c4 and pawn takes c4. And now how far is this pawn away from anything and how close is your king? After king c3, you looking crazy out here. Start a new game, big fella. Go home, study every endgame there is in the book, and don't leave the house until you do. And don't leave the house until you do, okay? All right. What's up, Ether? What's good? What's the deal? Well, pawn structure favors a trade for black. Well, in fact, pawn structures are the GPS of the game. Shout out to one of my GM coaches I used to work with that told me that. But in fact, pawn structures are the GPS of the game. So that means if you don't have a GPS and you just get in your car and you start driving, where you gonna go? Exactly. Right. So the GPS, of course, it helps you a lot here. In chess, it's the same way with the pawn structure. So it kind of tells you how this should go and if trades will favor you, if trades won't favor you, but you do have to study the pawn structures. That is very, very important to study the pawn structures so you understand what to do in these situations. Rubinstein was a master at that, a absolute beast with this kind of stuff here, and with it being black to move. Of course, b5 is no good. Rook c6, why will we damage the structure when it was great? Why? What makes sense does it make, right? Not a good move. So we're left with a few options. Rook h4. Okay, let's check out rook h4. Rook c7, right? King f6, snap on b7. Now think about this. I took first, which means I'm already ahead in the race. So when you have to take and push, I'm a little bit further than you are already. So if takes, and you try pushing, I'm already ahead. Just slightly. You know, there's also, and I can come around the back way and see what's up. It's going to be a little bit harder for you to do so, especially if I get king c2 in. It's a very strange position, could be drawn. Lots of play to say the least, but this isn't that accurate. And you want to make things comfortable and liquidate and make less counterplay for your opponent as much as humanly possible. So with that being said, check this out. This is what your man Rubinstein did. In fact, here we go. Bam! Take it. Just take the rook. Why? Because again, like we said before, it's actually very active for black. In fact, the king's very active. I can do a lot. Your king is not as active. Now, guys, I don't want to move. I want the plan. I don't want to move. I want the plan. Now, I hope you can replay this back on YouTube many times. You can write that down. You can clip that. I want a plan. I don't want to move because, yeah, moves are cool. But what is your plan behind the move you're making? So what is the plan? Give me a plan here for black. If you're trying to play for a win or not. What is this? What is the plan for black? After trade of rooks, b5, e5 shuts black's king, enter and get the clamp. I like it. LaCroix. Trade the rooks, go after kingside pawns. Close all the doors and move the king forward. Okay, thank you for the follow. Reigning 5791. Pick off the weak H pawn. These are plans. I like it. Go after kingside pawns like b5. Bring up the king. Play b5, e5, clamp. Take the c4 pawn. Promote the H pawn. Try to attack h2. Run the king to h2. Plant. You guys are awesome. Absolutely. 100%. You guys, that's straight facts, right? That's a plan. You see this? Now in real games, what usually happens, especially with students or anyone playing chess, of course, a lot of times you will just make a move instead of a real plan. Now you just gave me a plan here. Now let's see what he does. Rubinstein plays king f6. Where do you think he's headed? To the king side to hit the h2 pawn. So white realizes that and says, nah, bro, you're not about to get me, big fella. Let me head over there too. King d2, king g5. King e2, king h4. King f1, king h3. I'm here. And then he says, me too. Now what you gonna do? King g1. And now we stuck with this dilemma. Of course, we got there. The king got super active. Now what do we do? What do you do? What do we do, folks? King h3, king g1, b5 for the win, says Zook. b5, we got h5 here. Okay, let's get some moves in the chat. What you got? We got b5s, we got h5s, lock down the queen side. Zugzwang is the goal. Correct. True blocker in a way. Yes. We advance the pawns on the king side. A bad plan is better than blocking with your face. There you go, Ty Z. Look, put that on a shirt. Let me put my merch in the chat. Put the command merch. B5 has happened. Storm happened. F5. Play B5 to freeze. I'm going all in with the king side pawns. All right. You guys are very, very good with this. That's correct. In fact, B5 was not the move. B5 is actually one of the best moves. But B5 did not happen in particular in this game. It didn't happen right now. B5, I actually do agree. I do like B5 as well. It locks down the queen side. You don't have to worry about nothing. But what Rubenstein chose was E5. He chose E5. And then King H1. So after King H1, okay, now B5. So you guys don't have to put that again. Now he chose B5. And then King G1. So White's kind of paralyzed. I'm just shuffling back and forth. This is the most painful way in chess to lose a game and things like that. But okay, King G1. Your move, chat. Black to move. What do we do? Push the F pawn. White isn't zugzwang. E5 looks very nice. Thanks for the follow. Kernum 222. We got F5. F5. Okay, anybody else? E5 looks very nice. F5 from Perfectly Wasted. F5 from Phantom Master Klindrick. F5. You guys loving this F5 move? Anyone else? Any other moves? F5. And thanks for the follow. Tackler 52. Is G5 stupid? G5 is not stupid, and it actually is not at all. In fact, after F4, it's just really kind of locking F4 down. So G5 is not stupid at all. But F5, though, is the move. F5 is the better move. Just kind of doing things in more of an orderly fashion. And then after King H1, you guys guessed it. It's already in the chat. G5. What's wrong with A5? Something on that side to clear path. You mean this move? Like pawn A5. Crucifer scale? You're talking about pawn A5. Let me just, I just want to be very clear here. So you mean right here, pawn A5. Like here, like this move. Hey, I'm putting it on the board. Let me put it right here. Maybe you meant the wrong pawn. This one, is this the one you want? Is this the one you're looking for? Is this the one you were looking for here? We got That's Not a Moves in the chat. We got some stretchers sent. Yeah, this not a move, big fella. Don't do this to yourself, okay? It's gonna be all right if you need somebody to talk to. He was looking at A6. See, I knew something. That's okay. That's okay. I knew. I care about you, man. You know, I was thinking like I was really concerned. So A6, that's what you meant. Okay, A6 would be fine. A6 would be fine. But A5 is definitely not a move, big fella. Don't do it. Don't even do it. A6 though, and A4, of course, obvious. You take is easy. But A6 though is just, I mean, you don't have to. Like, it's not a necessary move. A6 is a move, but it's not necessary. It really just kind of prolongs the inevitable here. After King H1, G5, King G1. What do you think happens now, guys? Pretty easy. Pretty easy. Pretty easy move. What do you play here? Come on, let's get in the chat. How fast can you put it in the chat? A6 is a bomber. All right, funny, LaCroix, right? H5 and we live. A-Doc, I like that. I like that a lot, A-Doc. I like what you put on in there. H5 and we live. Yeah, you sounded like a big dog. G4 and H5. H4s, G4s. That's right, y'all. Come on, say it together. H5 and we, class says live. That's right. H5 and we live, baby. Let's go. Let's go. So look at these pawns. Very nice, but you still have to be a little bit accurate here. So after King H1, how do you proceed, chat? What do you do? In fact, there's a few ways to win. And I'm going to show you. If you have the right answer, of course, put it in the chat, whatever. Put any answer in the chat. But I'm going to show you what was actually played. And the move that the engine says is even better here. Even better. When you find a good move, look for a better one. G4, shut the door. Okay, I like it. Phantom Master Klindrick. We got G4s. We got F4 from Cheesy Driver. F4. F4. Okay, anything else? A6, you in the sticks. Okay, that's one strange one. In the sticks. Like, what did... I don't understand. It rhymes though. Thank you for the follow, Rippy G4. What's up, Unicorn? Hello. So checking this out, right? Watch this. So of course, in fact, actually, did anyone say it? Let me just go scroll through real quick. Yeah, nobody said it. So E4 is the engine's move, and this is the absolute best. e4, which was actually like, wow, e4, really? I didn't actually think it was that at all. I mean, I was thinking g4, of course, myself as well. f4, I was not thinking at all, really. But let's see why. f4 wasn't even considered. Now, still completely crushing, but f4 was not the best move. In fact, the move from the game, and all of these winning, everything wins, right? Everything. But g4 was what he chose. Just go to g4 option. After g4, there was e4 here. Now, don't block with your face here. Do not take on f3. Oh my goodness, what are you doing with your life here? You out here looking crazy. Like, this is ridiculous. Okay, let's try it then. King g1. e3. Don't work. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And I'm queening. Very, very fast. You have lost this game. So we want to make sure you don't do that. So e4, what do? Move the king over a6. f4, lock it up. What do we got, guys? f4 in the chat. Number one pick. Hey, I know Russian. I know. We got the number one pick, right? I know. Liking f4. You can also take on e4. F takes e4. I want more. You want f takes e4 more? In fact, that's exactly what Rubinstein did, though. He just took on e4. Made it simple here. Take on e4. Takes back on e4. How do you finish it now? F takes e4. F takes e4. Pretty simple. Now, what's the finish? What's the finish? This is something that you might have in your own game. So make sure you know how to do this. h4, h5. Okay, so h4 is actually, yeah, correct. h4, that's what you meant, Rippy, yes. Silent a6, stop it. Stop. Oh, man, here they go. Silent, if you guys don't watch him. Thanks, man. Thanks, Ty Z. Silent. Banana farm, that's funny. h4 into g3. Yeah, that's funny, right? All right, here we go. h4 is correct. h4 is correct. g1, right? g1. And then it's pretty simple. I mean, like, we all are going to play g3 here, probably unanimous. g3 takes, and this is the end of the game. The game is actually it ends right here. But with that being said, this is over. And you're like, well, how is this over? If you want to know, well, let's see. Pawn takes, king takes, we take the opposition, which is 100% important, especially in games like this. King and pawn in games, we have the opposition. Going this way, it just bails out. 100%, I'm going to take the pawn and queen easily. I can even snap these if I want to. If king f1, then of course, obvious way, take the opposition once again. King e1, we take this, he takes opposition. You may think it's a draw, because this could be drawn, but all of this extra, we even have the reserve tempi. a6, and then we can get out the way and go crazy. Here, and then just do our thing. Pretty easy. Walking the dogs in the park, easy. Queen stir, start a new one, right? So this is over, but it ended right back here after g3. But this was good to know, guys. In these type of end games here, this is where it started. If you're just getting here, this is where it started. You're going to take here. Obviously, what's the end game? What's the pawn structure? It's even on the queen side. We eaves over here. But this side, there's some structural damages, which means if we can get a piece there actively, which is the king, of course, after trading, then we can hold it right here, use the reserve tempi that we have, being the plan a6s, b5s, lock this down, push all of these up like he did here, and then get a winning king and pawn in game that is Zugzwang. White's in Zugzwang, so he has to move, and then we get the opposition, and we win all because of an active king. The active king is 1000% probably one of and the most important thing in the end game is how active is your king. Now, of course, make sure you're not getting mated, but definitely in cases like this, look at the activity of the kings, and just beside the point that the structures are messed up, or the structure is messed up over here, the king is more active. Now, luckily, if this was like symmetrical, they would get to the center real fast, especially if the pawn was back here on g2. But because it's not, it actually makes this hole over here where we can sit here, making the king extremely passive. This one's super active. He wins the game. Textbook endgame from your man Rubinstein.